Okay, we're going to learn how to calculate standard deviation today. Standard deviation. Watch the other video where I describe how standard deviation works and how you incorporate it into a normal curve. But for first things first, we're going to learn how to do standard deviation. So here's the formula for standard deviation here. It looks a little confusing, but it's actually pretty easy to work with. So I'm going to break it down, then I'll do a couple examples. So step one here. Well, step one, you calculate the mean, which you're going to find the mean is this one here. X with the line over top is the mean. Step one, calculate the mean. Step two is for each data point, calculate the data point minus the mean. So this is calculate the data point. So that's the point, and this is the mean. So for every number, we take away point, and we go for every number, it's number minus the mean, and then square the answer, and then we're going to square it. So for every one of our numbers, we do that. Then we're going to add up all our answers. So this here means we're going to we're going to sum all of our answers or all of our numbers that we get. Okay. Then after that, oops, this is the wrong formula. That should just be like this. There is a formula for population, as in you know all the data. And there's also a formula for when you don't know all the data. This here is when you don't know all the data, but we're just going to use when you know all the data. So I'm going to get rid of this. Sorry, I missed that. So you divide your answer. After we add all those up, we take that answer and we divide it by the number of data points we have. And then lastly, we take the square root of that data, of that answer. Okay? So there's the steps for what we're going to do. And then I'll go through a couple of examples working it through. Now, I will tell you right off the bat that if you plug in your calculator, -2, and then hit like the x squared button. So if you go, let's break that down a little bit. If you hit the buttons, these buttons, then the equal button, you are going to get -4 as an answer. What you have to do is you have to go bracket -2, bracket squared. Okay? So just be aware of that. So if you get a negative answer here, because this one here is going negative times 2 times 2, so that gives you -4. Where this one is going -2 times -2, which will give you 4. All right, so let's go work through this. So what's the standard deviation of the following exam scores? So I have these exam scores here. So first of all, I need to find the mean. So the mean, I'm going to add them all up and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to grab my calculator and add those up. 92 plus 95 plus 85 plus 80 plus 75 plus 50 is 477. Divide that by 6, which gives us 79.5 average. Okay, good. Now I made this little chart here to kind of help organize what I'm doing. So the first thing I have to do is x minus the mean. So I'm going to do 92 minus 79.5. My answer there is 12.5. And then I'm going to go 12.5 squared. So I've done, for this one, I calculated the mean already. So I'm on this step here. Step 2, for each data point, do the data point minus the mean and then square the answer. So that's what I'm doing right now. So 12.5 squared is, I'm going to round just to make it easier, 156. Then my next one is going to be 95 minus 79.5, which is going to give me 15.5. Then I'm going to go 15.5 squared, which is going to give me 240. I keep going. This is really exciting, I know. It's going to be 5.5. 5.5 squared is 30. So done that one, that one, that one, 80. 80 minus 79.5 is 0.5. 0.5. 0.5 squared is 0.25. Oops. 75 minus 79.5 is 4.5. That's going to be negative 4.5. Negative 4.5 squared. Now, if you just happen to type in negative 4.5 squared and it comes out as a negative, just know that's going to be a positive. Okay? And this is 50 minus 79.5. That equals 25. 29.5 negative. Oops. Negative 29.5 squared. Let's go 870. Okay. So now I'm done this step here. Okay. Now I'm going to switch colors here. I'm going to add up all my answers. So I'm going to add all these up and get a total. So 870 plus 20 plus 0.25 plus 30 plus 240 plus 156 is 1316. So that's my step right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the answers, divide the total by the total number of data points. We said we had 6 earlier. So I'm going to go 1316 divided by 6, which is going to give me 219. There's a decimal place in there, but I'm just going to make it easy along those lines. Then lastly, I'm going to square root this number. Square root 219. And my answer is 14.8. And I'm just going to keep it as 15. Okay. So my standard deviation, this is my symbol for standard deviation, is 15. Okay. So there's one done. So you can see my steps there. Calculate the mean, which was right here. And in blue, I did x minus the mean, got my answer. X minus the mean's there, got my answer. I square it here, and then I get my final answer. And I do it for every one of the points. Then once I have that done, I add them all up, which gives me my 1316, divide by the number of data points, and then take the square root of that answer, and that gives me my standard deviation. So an application of this would be, so I have 2 people playing golf. Who had the more consistent game? Okay. With a more consistent game, so the least amount of variance, the least amount of deviation. So we're going to do Richard in pink or purple. Richard's in purple. Let's do him first here. So first I have to find the mean. So I think they played 9 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do some mental math here. Well, that equals 10, 15, 18, 20, 28. So his score is 28 after that. Thomas was 9, 19, 21, 24, 28, 34, 39, I believe. I'm going to double check that one. 5 plus 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus 11 is 39. Perfect. Now we're going to divide these both by 9. So U is 4.3. 28 divided by 9 is 3.1. Now we're not looking who's the better player here, because that's kind of obvious. But we're asking who's more consistent. So let's do Richard here. So right now I'm going to do x minus the mean, and then I'm going to square that answer to get my total here, my number here. So 4 minus 3.1 is 0.9. I'm going to square that number, which gives me 0.81. 3 minus 3.1, 0.1, 0.1 squared, 0.01. Now this one here, so if I had, this is my score 4, I'm going to go 4 minus 3.1 again, which is 0.9, which equals 0.81, just like the one before. Done that one, done that one, done that one. 3 minus 3.1, 0.1, 0.01. Done that one. No. 1 minus 3.1 is going to be negative 2.1, which equals 4.41. Done that one. I have another 0.01. There's 3. Done that one. I haven't done 2 yet. 2 minus 2.1. Oh, 3.1. 1.1. 1.21. That was done. I haven't done 5 minus 3.1. 1.9. Squared is 3.61. And then I have another 3, which is 0.01. Let's make sure I have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got my total. 10.89. After I have my 10.89, I'm going to divide that by how many data points there are, which is 9. 1.21. And here, make sure you take the square root of that number. A lot of people don't. Oops. So my answer, my standard deviation for this one is 1.1. Now, if you want to, feel free to go ahead and pause the video here, do Thomas, and then fast forward to figure out if you got the same number as I did. Okay? Or you can do it excitingly at the same time, or watch the answer. Watch it come about here. So 4.3 is my answer here. So 5 minus 4.3, 0.7. 7 squared is going to be 0.49. 4 minus 4.3 is 0.3. I guess that'd be negative 0.3, but it doesn't matter. 0.09, I'm done that one. I'm going to have another 0.09, 4 minus 4.3. Now I have 6 minus 4.3. That's where I wonder why I picked such a big answer to work on as an example, but 2.89. We have 2 minus 4.3. I just realized that one kid got a hole in one. Must be mini putt. Mini putt instead. 2. Well, it's going to be 2.3, negative 2.3. 5.29. Then we have a 3. This guy's all over the place, not giving me repeats. 3 minus 4.3 is 1.3. Oops. 1.69. Now we have a 4. Now we already did a 4. And the 4 was 0.09. We already did a 6. 6 was 2.89. And we did a 5 originally, which equals 0.49. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Let's add them up. 0.49, 9. 14.01. Then we're going to go divide it by how many data points we have, which is 9, which gives us 1.6 approximately. Square root of 1.6 equals 1.2 is our standard deviation. So you can look here, smaller standard deviation, less variance in the data. So who's our purple guy? Richard was the more consistent golfer. Okay, so there's some practice there for you to calculate standard deviation. I would suggest writing down these steps to make sure you know how to.